Hi there, I'm Lewis Foster, a journalist up here at the Manx Radio newsroom. On Monday afternoon, an announcement came that Shoprite, that familiar Manx household name, would be selling all 9 of its stores to UK supermarket giant Tesco. In the last 24 hours or so, we've had reaction from all corners, and you'll surely have heard an opinion or two from your friends and neighbours about whether it will change their shopping habits. Will it change yours? Well, this morning, live on the Manx Radio Breakfast programme, Chief Minister Alfred Cannan gave his view.
Chief Minister, yesterday you said you were saddened by the loss of the Shoprite brand, but you welcomed Tesco's long-term commitment and investment. What does Tesco's investment mean for the Isle of Man's economy?
Well, first of all, I mean, these things are always a bit of a shock, and it was a bit of a shock to us to find out yesterday morning, of course, but we did get an early briefing from Shoprite, for which I'm very grateful. And yes, I'm saddened to see Shoprite go. I think if you look at the positive side of this, I mean, we should take heart that one of Britain's largest companies has seen fit to stay, not only remain on the Isle of Man, but do so in such a way by investing and purchasing a second major business. So I think that's a positive. I think for government, though, the concern automatically immediately turns to the people involved and what we can do to help them. And then clearly the second issue for us is the supply chain and how we can seek to support local businesses. So we're working on both those aspects at the moment, and those will be the key areas for us to concentrate on in the coming days.
And we're told the government was briefed by Shoprite ahead of the sale. I think you just mentioned there. Was that yesterday morning? Was that the earliest point that you found out?
That's correct. And obviously we're grateful that we got 3 or 4 hours notice on the sale, which at least gave us some time to think about our response. But it's always a shock. But I mean, I think aside from the fact government has to concentrate on the people, I think there's probably, from what we were told, about 60 people who potentially could effectively be at risk of redundancy. So we need to be concentrating on looking after them and making sure that anybody impacted immediately is given support. And of course, we'll offer that as through the Job Centre, and we've made a direct offer to Shoprite to support staff if that is needed. And secondly, we have set up between the Department for Enterprise and the Department for Food and Agriculture a supply transition team. And that team's going to look at how we can work with Tesco to transition suppliers across. Of course, we've got a few months whilst this process is undertaken, and I hope that we will be able to reach out properly to Tesco's, have proper discussions with them, and see how we can move aspects of the supply chain across to their brand.
A question that we're receiving lots on the text this morning is, does Tesco pay Manx VAT and tax?
Yes, it does. It does indeed. That will continue, and obviously they will take over whatever share that Shoprite are contributing at the moment. And obviously how that is, either improved or not in the future remains to be seen. But they do. I think the other critical point of this, I mean, whenever there's a significant restructuring of the market, and let's try and keep focused on some of the positives, is that first of all, all the stores are being retained as far as we know at the moment, and secondly, when this sort of restructuring takes place and a major player takes quite a dominant position, there's always potentially other opportunities for independent retailers to come through. And we, of course, in government and the Department of Enterprise will be encouraging local businesses, are always looking to encourage local businesses. And I suspect there may be 1 or 2 opportunities for independent retailers to review their positioning on the market. Of course, we'll look to give as much assistance from our perspective to them as possible as well.
Now, Chief Minister, Robinsons, of course, a big supplier for Shoprite. No official word from Robinsons yet, although they put out a call to all local producers for new products and ideas that they can support. But what do you know at the moment about how Robinsons will be affected by all of this?
Well, I think really commentary should be for Robinsons. All I would say is that I've spoken to the managing director at Robinsons. We had a very positive conversation. I know that they've got a lot to think about at the moment. But I'm sure in the coming days they will make their own statement about their position when it comes to their retail offering. Although, of course, I was absolutely delighted to see their their positive post about the matter, encouraging local suppliers to reach out to them, which I think they posted yesterday.
And what conversations have taken place, or conversations are planned with the meat plants and Laxey Flour Mill as well?
So I think this all comes down to looking at the sort of supply team and what they're going to do in terms of focusing on how they can work with suppliers at the moment, and what that might mean, of course, for other local producers who are in that Robinson supply chain and currently supplying Shoprite. So we'll look across the board at all these supply issues, and I think the focus will be, as I say, having proper conversation with Tesco's as to what might need to be done to try and encourage local produce into the Tesco supply chain. Tesco's set very high exacting standards in terms of entry into that supply chain. It's very difficult to get into. We'll work as hard as we can to try and understand how local producers can find a way in through to that supply chain. And of course, we will continue to support local retailers, and we'll continue to have conversations with the likes of Robinsons and with others to make sure that Manx food and Manx produce retains as prominent a position as possible.
We heard yesterday from Douglas South MHK Claire Christian, who, in light of the announcement, said the idea of relaxing the island's work permits needs to be halted. Work permits due to be discussed in next month's Tim Ward. So your reaction to Claire Christian's comments?
Well, I haven't had an opportunity to discuss anything like that with the Enterprise Minister in terms of his proposals and Council's proposals for work permits to be relaxed. I don't think they're necessarily conflicting at all. I think I can understand people having a knee-jerk reaction around it. But, we've set out an ambitious island plan in terms of what we need to do for business and industry. Work permits effectively at the moment have been an additional layer of bureaucracy for everybody. Of course, it's never complete and utter cancellation. I think we're just proposing at the moment that we remove that layer of bureaucracy in order to help the economy continue to grow and develop.
And just lastly, the Enterprise Minister, Tim Johnston, said Shoprite set an example within the sector of putting local supplies first. Are you confident that Tesco will also put local supplies first? Because obviously Tesco isn't a Manx organisation, and ultimately its loyalties do lie with its headquarters in London.
Well, they're a very well organised company, Tesco, as you might imagine. I mean, I think they're in the top 30 companies in Britain. They've got a huge supply chain. And as I said, it is now for us really to work with them to try and understand how we can best now, with the change situation, try and maximise the opportunity for local producers to be part of that supply chain. And that's what we're going to do. It's too early for me to say what that might look like if in terms of success for us, but we're certainly going to do that. We're trying to understand the extent of impact in terms of local suppliers at the moment, and as I said, we'll put the two and two together, and we'll try and work as hard as possible to make sure that we get as positive an outcome for everybody.